As soon as I said yes to you, the universe like pressed fast forward. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but it just is the, yeah, most life-changing work for sure.
Imagine discovering a pathway that cuts through the noise of trying to heal, to instead offer you a clear, revolutionary initiation into your most connected, abundant, loved, and purpose-filled self. A place where your dreams transform into personal reality. I'm Allura Halliwell, founder of the Consciousness Method, and it's with deep gratitude that I connect with beautiful souls who have already experienced this transformative method firsthand. They'll share how it has profoundly changed their lives and led them into inner truth. Hi, Tara. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
I am so keen to jump in with you on such a big piece of this journey of awakening and realization and returning to wholeness. And that big piece for me that I've really witnessed that you've stepped through so beautifully and it's such a deep challenge, but you've done it with such grace, is this movement from being in a state of really deep fracture. And when I say fracture, really deep dysregulation in your nervous system and the thought forms and the reality, into a more cohesive understanding of the experience you're going through. So would you be able to just maybe begin by sharing where you were when we began the journey and what that fracture was feeling like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have done a lot of self-work over the years since my teens, actually. And so it's interesting that you can do decades of work and, jumping in and out of it, sometimes programs, sometimes self-help books, sometimes therapy, but certainly a lot of conscious conversations. I was always open to conscious conversations and looking at my stuff and healing and whatever. By the time I came to you, which I was aware of you for, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years, um, the journey I was in the relationship that I had completed, I I just felt like I knew that I needed more kind of healing, something different, something I didn't know. I just knew that I needed something to help me with this emotional place that I get to, and like you're saying, the dysregulation without fully understanding why I kept going there. And so when I started with you, when I did the pattern shift, and then we had our call, and then I was so ready for this work because I was in such a place of like, I cannot keep going on like this. The like that saying, this pain of changing is better than the pain of staying the same, like there's pain either way, but it was just far too painful to stay the same. Um, to imagine in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, am I still going to be dealing with life this way? Something else must be there for me to see and to shift and to heal. So yeah. And right when you and I were about to start work is when a huge piece of my life shifted, and it was incredibly painful.
Mm.
So it all came at the perfect time, because that level of pain and not knowing how to deal with it, manage it, face it, move through it, heal it. Yeah, I needed a different kind of support and understanding and learning through that.
Yeah. And this is the crazy thing and the toughest thing about humanity and our existence is it's the sensitive ones like you, like myself, like the others I work with that have to, in some ways, reconcile that degree of sensitivity in terms of that level of pain. And it is so overwhelming for the system on so many levels. And to know how to actually move through that and what to do with that, I think is one of the greatest challenges for everybody because it's so pervasive and it's so deep and it's so affecting on all levels. Um, so when we started working together and we started to work in that pain space for you, what do you feel kind of began to shift in your understanding about the pain that gave you a different foothold in it?
For me, I can't remember the exact length of time, but if it was like 4 to 6 weeks in, but as much as I was fully open to and capable of diving into the pain, of doing the meditations to really let myself go there and to feel whatever was coming up, there was a process to um, almost quicken that level of awareness of where this pain was actually coming from. So even though I'd done a lot of work around the inner child and childhood healing and all that kind of stuff, I've um, not been disassociated from that. I haven't lived my life completely dissociated from it. I have very vivid memories and things like that. It was more bridging this connection of like whatever surface level pain was going on in my life in that current moment, understanding um this connection and parallels to like where this truly was coming from in my childhood. And so through that, what I found in that process over those weeks, because I kept opening myself up more and more and just surrendering to letting myself be in those moments, the awareness was starting to come quicker and quicker and quicker. And so then when a real shift, when the real depths of some of that stuff really needed to come out, it happened so quick. If you remember that call with you, right? That one day where I just was in the depths of it. And it's like, within 5 or 10 minutes, I was fully there and could just let it come out. And ever since that moment, that is what I love about this process, is that I can just let myself invite that to be present, to come to my awareness quickly so I can really see what's going on, let myself be with it, let it move through me. And when I come out of it, I'm just like the emotional upset or hook into whatever the surface level stuff of whatever triggered me in my life in the moment is like almost a non-issue after that.
Mm.
So that's been huge because in the journey in the mentorship, most of my triggers that were coming up were around, a particular life situation, a relationship. And, but what I can see, which maybe I didn't speak to a lot in our groups, was that I could see, I was reflecting constantly of how all those situations, similar situations and feelings and experiences were in my friendships, in my work situations and things like that. So I could fully see that. I could see how I was showing up in those places because of this behavior of reacting from my wound, whatever the trigger was, but, this protection and stuff like that. So that has been such a uh, incredible piece to all of this, because when something pops up, I can instantly go to these tools of like, whoa, like what's going on here, Um, yeah.
Wow. That's so big, Tara, so big, and so many amazing pieces you've shared there. And what I was hearing, it was that shift of consciousness. It's like when you touch that pain, and you see the portal of the pain, not just the top level of the pain, it's like a whole shift of consciousness occurs. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it always surprises me when I get to that place because I'm like, I've done a lot of this work in the past, It's like I have maybe I have a lot of intellectual understanding around these pieces and I thought that I've, done some work around this, but it is definitely a different shift in how I can see it now and understand it and sort of go into that work around it.
Mhm. And I love what you said about how it's all like a fractal. So you've got a lot of attention and focus on trying to survive in one spectrum of your life where this pattern is so intense and it's bringing up these very deep nervous system responses and deep emotional responses. But yet it's almost just a fractal of everything else in your existence. And that for me is the core wounding where we just have a lens of reality that's playing out everywhere. To begin to understand that and see that it's almost like if you're working in one space and shifting that pattern there, it's going to infuse and shift the other spaces. Did you feel that was a coherent kind of way of seeing it all?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely um have experienced a shift in that. And so I remember on one of our calls, you shared that with me that what I was dealing with in this moment was the biggest piece. It was giving me the opportunity to deal with the biggest part of this in my life, what's been driving my life. And so that when it comes to the other, outer things like the friendships and the work thing and stuff like that, career, whatever, that yes, there'll still be triggers and stuff will show up, stuff will present, but it'll be on a much almost milder level because of this huge piece that I've faced. And so I did see that. I did see a couple situations pop up with friendship. And the way that I addressed those situations was so different. Um, so different. And even recently I've been considering something about another friend and just sort of sitting with it. And normally my behavior would be to accommodate and find whatever way it is to make them like me again and to choose me or whatever it is. And it's not a case of whether they like me or not. It's just not hearing from them for a while. And I just was really, this was just the other day, and I was just really calm about it. And I thought, if I have done something that has bothered this person and they're not in a space where they feel they can come to me and talk to me about it, I mean, it just doesn't mean anything about me. It doesn't mean that I'm not lovable. It doesn't mean that I'm not okay. It doesn't mean that I did anything wrong. Um, and if that is how this friendship is going to transpire, then I really need to consider what I want in my life. But just that the difference is that I'm not making something wrong about it. Like it's okay if this has occurred. It's okay if the friendship goes whichever direction that it goes in. I feel very comfortable that if she does reach out to me, I will check in with her. And if she doesn't reach out to me and the friendship drifts away, like I'm okay with that. I'm not making anything wrong about it. Whereas in the past, I would be devastated. There must be something wrong with me. How do I fix this? How do I accommodate them just to be chosen?
Mm.
Um, so yeah, so that was something that just occurred for me recently, which was interesting. Um, in the work
Awesome.
situation, yeah, it's interesting that I haven't been working, so there hasn't been a lot of triggers coming up. But what is there is why am I not working? Or I do want to start a business. I have a business name. I have these ideas. So what's going on there? And even a mutual friend of ours the other week sent me a voice message and said, why don't you just like jump in and da da da? And straight away I was like, whoa. I was like, so, it's interesting to but I feel confident that now something that I avoided for many, many years was starting my own business, doing something for myself. Now I feel confident of like, okay, I feel like I've got some tools here that whatever comes up and triggers and whatever uncomfortableness comes up of like whatever direction I go in, I can address it and face it. And like a lot of fear around that is like if I work with other people, what if something comes up? Can I trust myself to address it well? Or even if I don't address it well, will I still be able to approach it and repair it and it be okay and we can carry on? It's not something I have to cut out of my life because I'm feeling like I've done something wrong and I'm not loved, I'm not chosen, or whatever it might be, and just like get it out of my life because it's just so uncomfortable. It's like I feel very different now in how I could approach those things.
Mm, that's so powerful, Tara. Thank you so much for those examples because the term I use in the work and for everyone is that it's almost like we move from being a victim to reality on some level to being a co-creator with reality, whereby instead of feeling that overwhelm of wrongness or that we're not doing it right or we're not loved enough or we're not good enough or we're not understood enough, it's like actually this is it, those two aspects are very, very separate. And then we can be very discerning about how we show up in reality and for ourselves, as opposed to feeling like everything's going to attack us and threaten us and affect us.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I just, in that realm, the work that we do, it's very internal, but then it's also, there's like this bridge to the external, whereby we activate those parts of us that have been dormant in fear or felt like they couldn't show up because it was too much, in the pain of everything. How did you find like the process of the nervous system stretching to show up in different ways, be that to minimize the addictive patterns and behaviors or to stretch into new ways of being? How did you find that practice?
That was the hardest piece for me for sure. It it so the amazing thing is that when I did experience those moments and it took a lot. I mean, it to become aware of that addiction, that drive, that to truly become aware of where we're operating from, that survival mechanism, and to stop yourself from doing all the things that you would normally do and really sit with it. I mean, it was just like the hardest thing ever, but it was so powerful. It was so powerful. I didn't know it was possible. I didn't know that it was possible to stretch your nervous system like that. Like, when people talk about like stretching your comfort level or whatever, that's one thing, to do something where you need a little bit of courage. This is next level. I mean, it is in it's such intentional work as well. Like it really needs to be intentionally focused on that, like, okay, like massive trigger, something's happening. I want to explode or I want to do this. It's like, even in my head, it's like, I need to do this to feel safe and comfortable or just, calm my nervous system down somehow. And I need to like manipulate that outside thing to make that happen. This is how I'm going to feel good. This is how I'm going to feel safe. And to do behaviors opposite from that is like so uncomfortable. And then to sit with it, and the outcome of that in my experience, to sit with it for 24 hours and feel that addiction of like, no, I need to do this and I need to do that. And I need to go back and do this or say this or write that and not allow myself to. And then let that go and let that process happen is just like, oh my God, I can do this differently. This is amazing. But also this warmth in my chest and in my heart, like my inner child was like, oh my God, I can trust you. I can trust you to do this differently. And look, we're safe. We're good. We're like, this is amazing. This feels different. This is really cool. That's what I've experienced. And then to see like, I recall like a big moment when that happened. And then so to see following on from that, even in really, really, really tough moments, like big stuff that I would normally, be explosive about, was like, whoa, being almost sending that text or almost making that call. It's like, no, my brain came on and it was just like, no, this isn't how we want to keep doing this. We know there's another way. We know how we feel after we do it another way. So I did the things that I knew would support me instead. And so yeah, my nervous system keeps stretching, which is amazing. And I can feel, this is a long-term work, as in
Mm.
it doesn't fix within 12 weeks or doesn't fix within 3 weeks. It certainly feels like it doesn't feel like it's going to be forever. It feels like it's going to be, maybe another 6 to 12 months of more intensive kind of work, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be forever. And that is what is so great about it as well. There's like relief there, even though the full relief hasn't come yet, but there's relief there of knowing like, yes, no, we can keep doing this and it does keep getting better. And that brings us more inner safety and security and more inner trust and self-love. And yeah, it's shifted a lot for me to even verbally say to someone that I have a lot of triggers with is like, I truly feel in my body that I'm not going to be reacting the way I did in the past. I just don't
Mm.
feel like that's going to happen again. It truly has
Wow.
shifted in me. And it doesn't mean that I don't have, emotional explosive moments on my own of when a trigger comes, but it's different in how it's being addressed.
Mm. Oh, Tara, I've got goosebumps because it's so serving you. It's so serving you. And you had to be so courageous to just take that initial break in that reality design and actually reclaim your energy and your resources and your emotions and your addiction in that thought, feelings, behaviors, in how you were showing up and sit in the depths of that space within your body that felt so dysregulated and so unsafe to create true safety. And I just really honor how committed you were to that in your body and how you've really shifted the paradigm around you. And in saying that, I'm really curious because it seems like, in some work, some psychological work and other somatic work and different things, we need to go back to the core traumas that happen, in our past and really work deeply there. And I think that's very valid and important on different levels. But what I find for the work we do is it's very reality based. So we're working with a fracture that's happening in your body right here and right now. But it takes you back through that genuine like unsafety that happened as a child and how you had to build these structures around you to create an illusion of safety by acting in certain ways. How do you now feel about the younger version of yourself and the things that happen for you, having worked and created more safety now? And has that had a flow through effect for the way you're sort of perceiving your journey of your life and your childhood experiences?
I'm not sure, but one interesting thing is that, well, when I used to think about my past childhood experiences for all these last, 2, 3 decades, there was a lot of blame and anger and resentment towards my parents or the immediate ones that I experienced a lot of trauma with. And it was, even though one of my parents, my mother, can have conscious conversations with me about a lot of this stuff. She's been on her own healing journey for decades as well. But that doesn't mean that we always could have conversations about things and stuff like that. What has shifted and what she reflected back to me was how I'm showing up now in those conversations and in those feelings around what occurred is so different. So different that I'm the one, she said, is allowing for the space, for the conversations and the healing to happen. And that was, beautiful that she said that and stuff. But I also reflected back to her, there's not a lot of parents that are open to these conversations. So this is, through the work that you've done as well. But, she's like, but you're not showing up in the anger and the severe upset and the, whatever it is. So I'm able to hold space for you in a way that it was a bit more challenging previously. But also, I don't bring everything to her. Like it's not about her, right? Or whoever, right? It's not about that. And so I don't know, I guess I'm able to look at it and be with it more from a place of like, I recognize that there's pain there, but I'm not diving into the trauma of this situation that happened is what I feel is different. I'm just able to think about it or be with it or cry or whatever it is that I want to do with it. But I'm just letting myself be with the pain of it, recognizing the pain of it. And I feel like, and then I'm letting that just shift and come out. I'm not sitting there and rehashing and rehashing and rehashing and staying in that addictive pain and trauma of it. That's what I feel is kind of different. And what I hope with healing that and continuing to be in that space in that way is that I will continue to learn how to or let go of how I might be projecting that childhood trauma onto my own child.
Mm.
Because I feel I can see that that is what is occurring and the way that I'm trying to um, coordinate our lives and our experiences or control it is because I so desperately don't want her to experience that pain and that trauma. And so this kind of shift of like, you know, the fear around the pain, it's like it's okay, like it is very painful, but also it's okay and we can be with it and we can heal it and we'll be okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So then therefore hopefully I can let go of controlling her world to stop her from feeling, some kind of pain and trauma.
That's so profound, Tara, for all parents, because it's so deep. Because the wounding is a mechanism, right, of our evolution and our return to ourselves. So any level of pain or trauma ultimately can be the portal back home. And I love that you've witnessed that instead of trying to control her experience to avoid pain, which is also almost an inevitable part of the construct of duality, you're knowing that whatever pain arrives can be transversed consciously to continue to evolve you, not cause you to be trapped in a loop, which is, I think, the major foundational point, you being a template of that evolution, as opposed to trying to save her from everything and simultaneously creating wounding anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like my connection and my relationship to parenting and to my child has completely shifted. Like I'm able to show up in a way that I couldn't previous to this work because I was so dysregulated. I was so locked in the pain. I was so hypersensitive to her experiencing any pain. I couldn't function and I couldn't enjoy my time with her in ways that I always wished and hoped for. I just couldn't be present in that way. Yeah, it was really strange experience that now the way I am with her and extended periods of time as a single parent with her, and when stuff happens, I just look at it so differently. But even just more, the most important is just I'm so aware of that hypervigilance around that for her and the intentional work that I have of like just keep that I can truly see that I keep doing my work, the flow and effect on her and on our relationship, it's just so clear. Like even just a clear example of one day when I was super dysregulated and the behavior that I saw in her and in our connection, it was such a terrible afternoon and evening. And the next day when everything was cleared and everything that I did, the child that I had with me and the way I could be with her in that time, we had just the most beautiful connection and the most beautiful afternoon evening. And not everything went right. It wasn't that everything went right and perfect. Everything was going wrong with the weather and this and our plans. Everything was not working out well, but we just had the best time. And I getting to see those examples of how that has shifted is just so beautiful. It's just the best. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy, Tara. I'm so happy to hear that. That means everything, right? That's so profound and powerful. And you're right, like when you have a bit of breathing space from the pressure of the pain and the addiction and the fear, it's almost like you can naturally be more present. And, people talk about, oh, just be present, just create presence and you're going to be okay. Presence cannot be reached when you are full to the brim with this activation of your being and your wounding that you actually cannot feel yourself and you cannot feel the truth of anything around you. So moving into that truth by consciously clearing those paths is such a profound gift. And she will feel that too, and she'll respond differently to that. And children are so flexible and amazing in that capacity to meet you as you evolve. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really amazing.
Yeah. Oh, Tara, I've so loved diving into this with you. Is there anything else we've missed in your journey you want to share on before we finish?
No, I mean, I think that it is the hardest work that one could do. Um, it's funny when I was young, when I did a course, like when I was like 17, one of my sort of first adult, self-development courses and stuff like that. I mean, I've always kind of been mature and been open to these kind of conversations and stuff like that. Always been open to like evolving. But I would be speaking to like 30 and 40 something year olds, and they're just like, oh, this is so amazing that you get to do this work at this age, and I wish, and da da da. But it's incredible, and you can do some amazing work when you are into, self discovery and self development and stuff like that. But isn't it interesting that like we can also still be just so unaware of truly how afraid of the pain we are.
Mhm.
And so you can still go such a long period of time of avoidance. And so yeah, it takes a lot to say yes to, truly, truly deep, deep work. But in that short amount of time, when you show up for it, when you really show up for it, and you're just like, like I've had enough of operating like this. I am diving in. Let's fucking do this and just like dive in. I mean, yeah, that's a fast track to change and shifts. And it just is the best. Like it is. It's the hardest work, but it's the absolute best work to do. Like I highly recommend just diving in. And it is so satisfying to be able to see genuine change because you've likely operated for decades thinking, I've literally said those things. I don't see how it's possible that I could truly change this. Like maybe I'm one of the ones that can't. And so when that big piece of stretching that nervous system, that work, it's just like, oh my God, here it is. I've seen some change. This is possible. This is amazing. I can show up differently. Things will show up differently in my life. This is amazing. I'm doing this. I'm doing this for me. And what's possible outside of me is just phenomenal.
Oh, Tara, you're making me cry.
Oh,
Oh,
it's,
yes,
it's just
yes,
been the
yes,
best.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes,
Yeah.
And this is it. This is everything. Because we're not here to be victims.
No,
We're
and
here to be the creator.
as soon as I said yes to you, the universe like pressed fast forward. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but it just is the yeah, most life-changing work for sure.
Thank you, Tara. I'm so honored and grateful for you, and so honored to be part of your journey. And your true dedication to yourself and your evolution is just next level. And the life that you're creating around you is going to absolutely keep reflecting that. You deserve all the love and all the peace. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to have shared.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Allura.
My pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you. And to say thank you, I'd like to share with you 3 beautiful meditations to explore your core wounding and a collection of masterclasses. You'll find these in your show notes. And if you feel the synergy to this path, know that it is available to you also.